Morning breaks over Hudson like it always does. Slow, golden, and full of quiet. The ranch looks peaceful, but behind that peace lives a family still carrying the weight of loss. Amy walks out of the house with her coffee, her eyes tracing the fields that used to echo with Ty's laughter. Every sunrise reminds her of what used to be, the days when love felt certain, when their future seemed clear. But now, the sun only brings another day of trying to move forward without him. She's learned to smile again, for Lindy, for Jack, for everyone who believes she's strong. Yet deep down, she knows strength doesn't erase pain. It only teaches you how to live with it. Inside the barn, the smell of hay and leather fills the air. Spartan stands quietly, his eyes following Amy as if he knows something she doesn't. There's a strange calm in the air today, the kind that comes before something big. Amy runs her hand across the stall, her fingers brushing a small carving on the wood, T+A. She carved it years ago, back when she thought forever meant something unbreakable. For a moment, she lets herself smile, but it fades just as quickly as it comes. Later that morning, Lou drives in from town, her face full of questions and worry. About the business, about Amy, about the future. Jack watches from the porch, quiet as always, his heart heavy, but his faith steady. They all feel the same emptiness, though none of them talk about it anymore. Some wounds are too deep for words. Amy tries to focus on work, fixing saddles, feeding horses, pretending life has moved on. But it hasn't, not really. Because no matter how many days pass, Ty's memory clings to every part of this ranch. In the laughter of the creek, in the whisper of the trees, in every hoofbeat that echoes across the fields. That night, when the sky turns dark and the stars start to show, Amy steps outside again. The ranch is quiet. Too quiet. Lindy is asleep inside. Jack and Lisa are talking softly by the fire. Amy looks up at the sky. The same stars she and Ty used to watch together. She remembers his voice, calm and full of hope, promising that no matter what happened, love would always find its way home. She closes her eyes, whispers his name once, and lets the wind carry it away. But the wind doesn't carry it far. It brings something back instead. The faint sound of hooves in the distance, the soft neigh of a familiar horse, and a feeling that chills her to the bone. She knows that sound. She knows that rhythm. Her heart races. Her hands tremble. It can't be. It shouldn't be. But deep down, she feels it. Something, or someone, is coming back to Heartland. The next morning, the ranch wakes slowly. A thin mist rolls across the fields, wrapping everything in a pale, ghostly light. Amy stands by the window, holding her coffee but not drinking it. Her eyes search the horizon, the same spot where she thought she heard hooves last night. Maybe it was nothing, maybe just the wind, or her tired mind playing tricks. But deep inside, she knows better. Something about that sound felt real, too real to ignore. She steps outside, the grass still wet with dew, and the air cool enough to sting her skin. The horses are restless this morning. Spartan lifts his head, ears sharp, watching the same path Amy's eyes follow. "You hear it too, don't you?" she whispers. Spartan doesn't move, but his gaze stays fixed. There's a tension in the air, a quiet warning, as if the land itself remembers something she doesn't. As Amy walks toward the pasture, memories rise with every step. She sees flashes of Ty, his smile, his hands fixing a bridle, the way he'd laugh when she got too serious. She used to love that about him, how he could turn her storms into sunlight. Those memories hurt now, like touching something too bright. She reaches the old gate where they once carved their initials, and her heart sinks. The wood is weathered, but the marks are still there, proof that they were real, that their love existed beyond time. She runs her fingers over the carving and whispers, "I still remember." A sudden gust of wind blows through, carrying the faint scent of pine and smoke, Ty's scent. Her breath catches. It's impossible, she tells herself, but the feeling won't leave. Then she hears it again. Hooves. Slow, rhythmic, steady. Her pulse quickens. She turns toward the sound, her heart beating faster than it has in years. Through the fog, she sees a shape forming. A horse. Dark and strong, moving like a shadow through the mist. For a moment, Amy can't breathe. It's Harley, Ty's horse. The same horse she thought would never come back. Harley stops a few feet away, his breath visible in the cold morning air. His saddle is worn, covered in dust, but it's there. Ty's old saddle. Amy's knees go weak. "No," she whispers, her voice trembling. "This can't be real." She takes a careful step forward, her eyes scanning the field, searching for the rider. But there's no one there. Just Harley. Just the sound of her own heartbeat. She reaches out, her hand shaking, and touches the horse's mane. It's warm. It's real. Tears fill her eyes before she can stop them. Jack walks up behind her, his voice low. "Amy, where'd he come from?" She turns, speechless. The look on her face tells him everything. Fear, hope, disbelief. Jack steps closer, studying the horse. "That's Ty's." His words hang heavy in the air, the name itself enough to reopen every wound they've tried to heal. Amy nods, still unable to speak. Jack lays a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Maybe someone found him, brought him back." But Amy shakes her head slowly. "No one knew where he was buried," she says quietly. "No one but us." They stand there for a long moment, the wind whispering around them, the fog lifting slowly to reveal a clear blue sky. It feels like a sign, a reminder that the past doesn't stay buried forever. Amy leads Harley back to the barn, her mind full of questions she can't answer. Each step feels like walking through a dream she can't wake from. She removes the saddle carefully, her fingers brushing against the leather, and there, inside one of the side pockets, she finds something small, something folded. It's a note. The paper is old, stained with dirt and rain. Amy hesitates before opening it, her hands trembling. Inside, written in Ty's familiar handwriting, are just a few words. "If you ever lose me, look to the stars. I'll find my way back." Amy's tears fall freely now. She sits down on the hay, the note pressed against her heart, unable to understand how it's possible. Maybe it's a coincidence. Maybe someone left it there to comfort her. But she knows Ty's handwriting, the loops, the uneven letters. She knows it like her own heartbeat. She looks up toward the rafters, her voice breaking. "Ty, what are you trying to tell me?" The silence answers, but it's not empty. Somewhere in that stillness, she feels him, not as a ghost, not as a memory, but as something alive in the spaces between. And for the first time in years, Amy Fleming isn't afraid. She doesn't know how or why, but she knows this. Ty Borden is coming back to Heartland. The day after Harley's mysterious return, the ranch feels different. The air is thicker, heavier, as if every sound carries meaning. Amy wakes before dawn, unable to shake the dream that's been haunting her all night. A dream where Ty stands by the old corral, smiling the way he used to, the sun setting behind him. He doesn't speak, but his eyes say everything. When she reaches out, he fades with the light, leaving her with that same ache in her chest, the one that's been growing stronger since Harley came back. Amy walks quietly through the house, careful not to wake anyone. The floorboards creak softly under her feet, like whispers following her steps. She opens the door to the porch, and there it is again. That feeling, the one that makes her heart race and her stomach twist. The ranch isn't just a place to her, it's a memory that breathes. Every fence, every post, every grain of dirt hold pieces of their love. And now, those pieces are waking up. Jack finds her outside, staring at the open field. "Couldn't sleep either?" he asks, his voice gentle but edged with concern. Amy doesn't turn around. "It doesn't make sense, Grandpa." Harley shouldn't be here. That note, Ty's handwriting. She pauses, her throat tight. It's like he's trying to reach out. Jack steps beside her, looking at the same horizon she's been watching. "Maybe he is," he says quietly. "Or maybe it's your heart finding ways to hold on." But Amy shakes her head. "No, this feels different. Real." Later that morning, Lou arrives, her phone buzzing non-stop with calls from the cafe and business meetings. But when she sees Amy's pale face and the horse tied outside, her world stops for a moment. "Is that Harley?" she asks, disbelief clear in her voice. Amy nods slowly. Lou walks closer, touching the horse's mane with shaky hands. "But how?" I thought. She doesn't finish the sentence. Some things are too painful to say out loud. Inside the barn, Amy shows her the note. Lou reads it once, then again, her eyes filling with tears. "Amy, this isn't possible." But Amy's voice is firm, almost certain. "It's his writing, Lou. I'd know it anywhere." Lou looks at her sister, searching her face for logic, but all she finds is hope. Fragile, desperate hope. "Maybe someone wanted to comfort you," Lou says softly. "Maybe Jack, or Lisa." Amy cuts her off. "No one knew about that message." "He wrote it for me once, years ago, before Lindy was even born." The sisters stand in silence. The only sound the soft rustle of hay and the steady breathing of the horses. It's a silence that feels alive, the kind that waits, listens, remembers. Then something catches Amy's eye. On the far wall, behind an old stack of feed bags, she sees it. Faint but clear, a handprint in dust. Large, strong, and placed right where Ty used to hang his jacket. She walks over slowly, her chest tightening. She brushes the surface with her hand, and a chill runs through her body. The mark is fresh. Over the next few days, more signs appear. A photo of her and Ty that once sat on the mantel keeps falling face down. Lights flicker in the barn at night. Spartan refuses to enter Ty's old stall. And every time Amy closes her eyes, she hears his voice, soft, distant, calling her name like a whisper carried on the wind. At first, she thinks she's losing her mind, grief finally catching up to her. But then, Lindy says something that stops her heart. "Mommy," the little girl says one evening, playing by the window, "Daddy came to my dream. He said you shouldn't be sad anymore." Amy freezes. "What did he look like?" she asks, her voice trembling. Lindy smiles, like before. "He had that same jacket and the hat Grandpa gave him. He said he's coming home soon. Amy can't speak." She kneels down and holds her daughter tightly, her eyes wet with tears she can't hide. Maybe it's just a dream, she tells herself. But Lindy's innocence makes it sound like truth. Children don't carry grief the same way adults do. They see what hearts have forgotten how to believe. That night, Amy sits by the fireplace with Jack. The flames flicker, casting long shadows across the room. "I don't know what's happening," she whispers. "But it's like he's everywhere." Jack looks at her, his weathered face soft with care. "Maybe he's trying to tell you something, Amy. Maybe it's time to listen." She looks into the fire, her reflection dancing in the glow. "But what if it's just me holding on too tight?" Jack sighs. Then let it be that. Sometimes love is stubborn, sometimes it refuses to let go, even when it should. Outside, the wind picks up, brushing against the windows like gentle hands. In the distance, the barn door creaks open, though no one is there. A faint glow fills the space, soft and warm, like a memory stepping out of the shadows. Amy turns toward the sound, her heart beating hard. She doesn't move, doesn't speak, because deep down she knows the signs aren't coincidences. Ty Borden isn't just a memory anymore. The night it finally happens, the sky is clear enough to see every star. The ranch is quiet after a long day, but Amy cannot sleep. She stands on the porch in a sweater, arms folded, watching the yard like it might speak. The note is in her pocket, soft from being held too many times. She keeps reading the same line in her head, the promise she never wanted to need. A small wind moves across the field, and the chimes by the door begin to sing. It is a simple sound, but it feels like a door opening. Amy takes one step off the porch, then another, drawn by something she cannot name. A light burns inside the barn, though she swears she turned everything off. She walks toward it slowly, her heart pounding hard enough to shake her ribs. The gravel crunches under her boots. Spartan whinnies once, a low, warm sound that makes her think of old mornings and young love. She pushes the barn door and it slides with a long sigh, like it has been waiting for this exact moment. The air smells like hay and leather and cold night. For a second, nothing moves. Then Amy hears it, the quiet scrape of a boot on wood. She freezes. Her mind runs through every answer that would make this less impossible. A visitor, a ranch hand, a trick of sound. But then she sees the shape by the far stall, broad shoulders, hands steady, head lowered as if in prayer. He turns before she speaks, like he heard her heart arrive before her feet. The face she has carried in grief and hope rises into the light. The eyes she knows better than her own meet hers. No words, oi. There is only breath, fast and shallow, and the pull of two souls that have been calling across a distance too wide to measure. Amy, he says, and her name in his voice breaks her open. She steps forward and stops, afraid that if she moves too fast, the moment will end. He looks older, not by years, but by miles, as if he has walked through something the world cannot explain. There is a softness to him, a gentleness she remembers from the quiet after storms. Tears rush to her eyes. Ty? It is barely a sound. He smiles the smallest smile, the one he used to save for her when no one else was looking. I told you I would find my way back. She goes to him then. The space between them disappears like fog in the sun. She does not leap or cry out. She just reaches up and touches his face as if touching a miracle should be careful work. Warm, real. The simple fact of him breaks every rule she set to survive. She laughs and sobs at the same time, the kind of sound a person makes when a stone is lifted from their chest. He holds her, and the barn, the night, the years, all narrow to the circle of his arms. Jack appears in the doorway, pulled by the same strange gravity. He stops when he sees them, his hat in his hand, all the fight washed from his face. The old man who has carried everyone's pain stands there and lets his knees bend under the weight of joy. Ty, he says, careful and rough, as if the word could scare the man off. Ty lets go of Amy just enough to look at him. Hey, Jack. For a heartbeat, the years roll back and the porch talks. The lessons, the second chances, all sit down at the table again. Jack crosses the floor and pulls Ty into a hug that says what mouths cannot say. You stubborn kid, he whispers. You found the road. Lou is next, breathless, hair loose, eyes wide. She stops, hand to her chest. Shock hits first, then anger for the pain he left behind, then love that burns through all of it. She moves fast and grabs him by the shoulders. "Do you know what you've done to her?" she asks, voice shaking. Ty nods, eyes wet. "Every day," he says. "I know it every day." Lou's grip softens and she pulls him close. "Don't ever make us bury hope like that again." He nods into her shoulder. "I won't." Lindy stands in the doorway, small and brave in her pajamas, clutching a stuffed horse. She looks at her mother, then at the man by her side, and smiles a quiet, certain smile, as if a secret she has carried finally came true. "I told you," she says to Amy, simple as stating the weather. "He came back." Ty kneels, eyes bright with the kind of tears that hold a lifetime. "Hey, kiddo." She walks to him like children do when they feel safe, and he opens his arms. When she rests her head on his shoulder, the barn seems to breathe out. The world slips into its right shape. Questions try to push in. How? Where? Why? But the answers are not ready, and the night refuses to break. Amy does not ask for proof or timelines. She listens to the only truth that matters, the weight of his hand in hers, the sound of his voice, the way the fear that lived behind her ribs for so long begins to fade. She thinks of the note, of stars, of a promise that kept walking even when she stopped. She thinks of love like a compass that refuses to point anywhere else. They move to the house as dawn draws a pale line over the hills. Coffee steams, blankets appear. The family sits close, touching knees and hands, not trusting space. Ty speaks in simple pieces. He lost his way. He followed signs. He felt pulled here by something that did not let him sleep. He cannot explain the gaps without breaking the spell, and no one asks him to. Jack nods like a man who has seen weather do stranger things than heaven and earth can guess. Lou holds Lindy and watches Amy's face more than she watches Ty's. She sees the color return to her sister's life and decides that answers can wait. When the sun finally clears the roof, Amy takes Ty to the porch where the chimes first sang. She slips the note into his hand. He reads it and smiles, the kind that rises from a place deeper than joy. "You kept it," he says. She leans her head to his shoulder. "It kept me." He looks out over the fields. The horses graze. The fence line shines with dew, and the day begins like any other, except everything is different. Amy closes her eyes and lets the warmth of the new light fall across her face. She does not ask if this will last. She chooses to live in the truth of now. Inside, the phone will ring, and people will learn, and the world will try to wrap words around what cannot be made small. But for this breath, for this morning, Heartland belongs to one simple, impossible thing. Love found the road home, and the family that waited learned that hope, when it refuses to die, can move mountains and bend time. And in that quiet, with the sky open and bright, Amy finally lets go of the fear and holds on to the one thing that stayed, Ty Borden, back where he promised he would be.